Nailed it. This is fantastic. This is probably my favorite historical recipe so far. Growing up in Arizona, we actually kind of like associate these with Christmas because if your family doesn't make a freaking ton of these for the holiday season, you know a family that does. Wiske Vinet Yakyan. I'm Naka Benny, and welcome back to Reheated History, the only show where we eat like the past has no expiration date. As a history teacher, I'm always looking for new and delicious ways to connect with the past. What did the common medieval peasant eat? What fueled the Roman gladiator? Did colonial Americans have a favorite comfort food? The answers aren't in textbooks, they're in the kitchens, farms, and fire pits of history. So, each week we'll cook our way through time, one humble, hopefully hilarious, and surprisingly tasty dish at a time. Because the best way to understand history is with our stomachs. This is Reheated History. Today, we're heading to Chiapa de Corzo in Mexico, around 400 BC. Archaeologists found jars here with chili residue, proving that the ancient Zoque didn't just eat their food, they wanted it to fight back. The Zoque were part of one of the oldest continuous cultures in Mesoamerica, often considered the linguistic descendants of the Olmec civilization. You know, the same people behind those massive stone heads and some of the earliest urban centers in the region. By 400 BC, communities like Chiapa de Corzo were already developing complex societies with trade networks, celestial calendars, ceremonial architecture, and early writing systems. But they weren't just surviving, they were building a culture. And like most advanced civilizations, that sophistication showed up in their food. Layered, intentional, and often tied to ritual, status, and community. We're making zoca salsa paste and pairing it with its ancient best friend, the tamale. Because let's be honest, if you're living in a world without air conditioning or the internet, eating so much capsaicin you transcend reality sounds like a great afternoon. Now, you might be a little bummed out that I have no chips to dip in the salsa. I have a little bit of bad news. Tortillas don't show up for another 1,000 years, and tortilla chips? They actually come out of the Los Angeles tortilla factory in the 1940s, when Rebecca Webb Carranza got a misshapen batch of tortillas. So instead, she just cut them up into triangles, fried them, and sold them as a snack. Huge hit and a big game changer for the Mexican restaurant industry. However, the good news is, at this point in history, if you wanted corn, you weren't flipping it on a griddle, you were steaming it in a husk. This was the original portable meal for a Zoque farmer, the Mesoamerican Hot Pocket, but with significantly less preservatives and less lava mouth. In fact, tamales were done so well they rank among the oldest still-in-use recipes around. The ingredients are here for basically unchanged for over 2 millennia. For the tamales, you'll need 2 cups of Masa Harina, 1.5 cups of warm broth, 1/4 cup of lard, and corn husks that have been soaked until they're soft. For the salsa, you're going to need 1/4 cup of dried chilies, Piquín or bird's eye are best for authenticity, 3/4 cup squash seeds, also called Pepitas, and a pinch of sea salt and a splash of water. First, we have to bray the ingredients. A mortar and pestle will do, but if you want to go for authenticity, do yourself a favor and get a Molcajete. They sell them at Walmart and Target for like 20 bucks. Grind your toasted squash seeds and dried chilies into a fine, lethal dust. Then add a bit of water. It's going to be coarse, it's going to be rustic, and my arms are definitely going to feel a little bit spicy by the time I'm done. Next, the masa. Mix your corn flour, your fat, and broth until it reaches the consistency of respectable mud. Spread it on a soaked husk and a dollop of that spicy paste and fold it like a sacred offering. Make sure to leave some salsa behind for topping after. Now, we're not baking this, but we're steaming it, so you're going to need some sort of way of lifting the tamales above the water so they don't get wet. You'll want to steam these suckers for about 60 to 75 minutes or until the masa becomes firm. Okay. Well, here's how it turned out. Real pretty. We're going to have to grade this in 2 parts because, of course, I made 2 different things, even if the salsa is mixed in it. All right. Here we go. Tamales. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Nailed it. This is fantastic. This is probably my favorite historical recipe so far. Now, I like mine a little more modern, like with green chili and cheese in it, but this is still really good. Could use a little sauce. It's kind of dry. Growing up in Arizona, we actually kind of like associate these with Christmas because if your family doesn't make a freaking ton of these for the holiday season, you know a family that does. So I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. Now, as far as the salsa goes, kind of turned out like this. It's not what you would call salsa. I like the flavor, but it's really kind of more like chunky peanut butter that's spicy. I guess is the best way to put it. It is really spicy, so watch out for it. But yeah, overall, I think salsa gets a 7 out of 10. Tamales get 10 out of 10. I would just rename this Hot Pepitas Spread. Well, you know how it goes about my family. If they like the spice, we've got dinner. And if they don't, we're ordering pizza. I'll post in the scores what they thought. All right, that's Chapa de Corzo tamales and salsa. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. And don't forget to stay curious. Stay spicy. And remember, if it doesn't come wrapped in a corn husk, it's probably not authentic.